What's going on, everybody? It's Javi.
Gustavo?
You already know. Today's August the 11th. And did you know today there's a supermoon?
I don't know anything about moon or
Okay, well,
suns
today's
or
actually
any
the last
events.
supermoon of the whole summer and the
What-
whole year,
What
actually.
does that even mean?
Okay, so I guess every, 28 point something days, there's a full moon,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some moons are different than others. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a supermoon, and it's the last one of the year.
Does it mean it's
It's just enlarged.
more full?
It's always full on a full moon, but it
It appears enlarged.
appears larger.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it doesn't grow for like
Did I
a
say
day.
grow?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, it's close.
Uh,
Okay. Heck yeah.
So yeah, welcome to the Circle and Thoughts podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
I don't think we remember to say that sometimes.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess not.
Do we? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you.
I mean, we just say what's up, I guess that's kind of a form of welcoming. Like, what's up? How you doing?
Got to make sure all the stuff over here looks good.
Oh,
Feeling like it's yeah, we're
everything
good, we're
looking good, sounding good, feeling good.
So what's new? What's going on?
Okay, well, I guess in the last video, I've been in Cochran, Georgia. Yep. Had my preseason, my team, Middle Georgia, with the women's team, and actually yesterday we had a little activity where the girls went up by themselves. We were in a classroom, me and Coach Gill, we left, and they put their goals like short term, medium term, long term, and like rewards and consequences. Like those were all the stuff that he put up there, and they went and filled their own goals out
Mm-hmm.
for the season. And it was interesting because like I asked him why don't we sit in there. He was like, because he didn't want to be. He wants them to be accountable for their own goals. Like it's not like it's forced up from the coaching
Well,
staff.
you're saying it was just the players?
Yeah, just the players. And then one of the girls, whenever they were done, said, "Hey, we're done." So we went in there and looked at them and everything.
They all looked at them while they were there. They left, and then y'all looked at them.
No, we looked at while we were there. We talked
Okay.
after the goals were all written on the wall. We read them, me and Coach.
Just broke it down with them.
We just talked about it for like 5-10 minutes, and then I'll take a photo of it and erased it because we don't want no one saying anything. It's highly classified information.
Okay. Top
Yeah.
secret.
Yeah, top secret.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty good to like write goals down anytime in life or like.
No, yeah, any time in life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing I've never really done though. Like I have it in my head, but I think it's better to like. And as far as like productivity and stuff, I've seen people say this online or just read certain things, and it just mentions having like short-term goals and then long-term goals, and then how you get to that point of achieving that goal or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I keep up with stuff in my head, you know what I mean, as far as goals like that, but I don't actually write them
Like
down.
physically write them down.
Which
yeah.
I probably should because it would just make more sense.
Like you said, people say that it is good to do it, you know,
Mhm.
and I do it myself like all the time. I just get all my thoughts out, but sometimes, like once every 2 or 3 months, I'll write down like daily goals, weekly goals, and then monthly goals,
Mhm.
and then even like yearly goals. And I usually like just recycle that yearly goal obviously until I really accomplish it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do that a lot, and I think it helps. Just because like you're more when you write it down, you see it like written down like spelled. You know, it's
Mhm.
just like spelling like you're casting a spell type this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just, it's
Kind of like
more
putting it
conscious
out.
to
You're also putting it more out in the universe type
yeah,
of stuff.
exactly.
Yeah. No, definitely. I probably should start doing that, but like I said, I kind of have goals in my head, but it definitely would help if I actually wrote them down.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do it. Might as well.
So, I guess I was writing some things, and me and Hobby, we've talked about this a few times already, how we need to like have better like topics, and I'm doing it again. I don't know if we've actually mentioned it on the podcast or not, or we just said it to each other. I'm assuming we've said it on the podcast as well. I definitely just want to like look into certain topics and then research them a little better, as opposed to what I'm doing now, which is like I'll look it up a few hours before we record this, and then I'm like, okay, and I start researching. But I want to like do more research. I want to be more in depth with it, and I'm not able to do that if I'm doing it like a few hours before we record this. So I need to get better with that. So I guess just something quick, get the ball rolling. Maybe it'll flow into something else. Have you seen like I believe it was the Senate. It was a larger bill, and this was just a portion of it. I believe that they didn't allow the bill to pass. Again, I'm not expert in certain things. Like, I'm
What
not an
bill is
expert.
this?
I'm getting to that.
Okay, the way you worded it was like.
It was not the most.
Okay, go on though.
Yeah. So essentially, it was like an insulin cap at $35 a month, right? And yeah, they just didn't approve it. So it was 57-43, and 7 Republicans voted for it, and then 43 did not.
Okay.
So all the
Dang.
Democrats voted for it, and then we had again 7. See, I'm just like messing this up completely.
No, I'm doing the math in my head right now.
Yeah. So
No,
basically,
it makes sense, but they denied it. It didn't
yeah,
get
they
passed.
just didn't want it to pass. I guess it got through. I guess at a different point. I can't remember.
You said insulin shots?
Insulin cap, like
Oh,
as
cap.
far as if you're type 1 diabetic,
Yeah.
a cap on how much insulin costs you a month, right? So they were trying to pass a bill which capped it at $35,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously didn't pass because we had, what was it? Only 7
So
Republicans
what's
that
to
voted
that?
for
What's
it.
to that?
They were
right
only
now.
3 votes away from having it pass, and
So if it's not at 35
43
right now.
You had 43 Republicans that just voted no against it.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's at now? I mean, I don't know if there's a cap on it now. I didn't really look into that
There's
again.
gotta
This is
be.
me
Maybe they're
like
trying
not
to just
researching
lower-
stuff too
yeah.
much before. But yeah, I mean, there might be some sort of cap, but I'm not sure. I was speaking to someone earlier, and they were telling me, because I was just trying to get someone who actually is type 1 diabetic, and they were just telling me a few things about it. And they were saying, like, some people say the only issue with making a cap is if you make a cap for something like this, then again, this is just different perspectives. Then they would charge more for like the private insurance. So I believe the cap is for like insurance. Like if you have insurance, they're capping your copay, I believe, to $35 as
Okay.
opposed to what it is now, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So if you don't have insurance at all,
You're
I don't think
paying-
bills like this, as of now, they're not really doing anything. And
Yeah.
and this person I spoke with, I think if you don't have insurance on insulin, or excuse me, if you don't have health insurance, stuff like insulin will cost you about $1,200 or something like that a month, which is crazy. Like you're just trying
That's
to live,
crazy.
you know what I
for
mean?
real.
Like
yeah.
you just happen to be born with something, or
Mhm.
I don't think you're really born with it. It happens in childhood, and then
Well, you know what's crazy? The other day I was actually I had to go pick up a girl on the team. It was the last girl to arrive.
Mhm.
For she honestly just missed all the preseason, but she's from Sweden. And we were talking about Sweden and whatnot, like where she's from and everything, and talking about taxes and how like everything over there, like health insurance, like
but they're taxed
It-
at a way higher rate than
well,
us.
honestly, she said she's like 35%, and I was like, well, that's how much we get taxed here, 35%.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you take home, but
Yeah, I mean that's how
I
it
think
varies for the United
they
States
get paid
as well.
more than 35. I mean, they get taxed more at 35.
Well, there are some European countries that do like 50% taxes. Like
Oh no, yeah, there's yeah.
there was one that I was about to say, but I forgot what it was. But the one particularly that's like 50%. I'm like, man, that is wild. And back in the
Yeah.
day, like how like the Boston Tea Party was like 2% tax.
Was it that low?
Yeah, it was super low. They raised it to like 2%, like 1.5,
Yeah.
and they had the Boston Tea Party. Like, you know, our forefathers, you know, they found out about this, they would be like, what is going?
I mean, there's
on?
more stuff though. Like you have to be taxed at a higher rate now because you're paying for more things. You know
True.
what I mean? You're paying for education. We're paying for
Infrastructure.
infrastructure. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff. Military. We have the biggest
Yeah,
military
but
in the world.
there's
so,
so
I mean,
much money that goes to military.
That's
though.
the thing. The reason I brought
So
the
much.
insulin stuff up, it's kind of like I more so want to get into a topic of, I really don't know what I want to get into a topic of. I wanted to bring that point up because I just think it's crazy that you have people who aren't able to live their lives, or they struggle to live their lives because
Because they
they're
can't financially.
charged for so much. Like I
Yeah.
believe capitalism is good, but I think there's like a certain point where if it's a necessity to your life,
Mhm.
there kind of should be like a line
Like,
drawn at some
yeah.
point. But again, we're in a capitalist society, so it's kind of hard to say. Well, it was no longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a economy expert. I don't know a lot about like what doing certain things. Like there's a reason certain things are laid out. The people who know more stuff, they
Yeah.
do it for a certain reason. But a lot of times, I don't think there actually is a reason other than just being greedy. So
Well, I mean that is a good thing we have. Well, I don't know if you have any more, but Medicare. Up until
yeah,
like,
there's a lot of
like,
different
age
government
0
insurance and
to
stuff.
what's like 26, 25.
I think that's something else. I think as far as you being under your parents' insurance, you can do that until you're 26.
Okay.
That's something else. But there is like government insurance and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think that there should be more and a lot cheaper. For the people. Like,
Yeah, I think there should be more like harsher regulations for certain things in life if it's like a necessity. You know what I mean? Even obviously something as important as insulin for people
yep.
to something that may not seem important, but at this point in life it is somewhat of a necessity, which would be like the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can live your life without the internet, but I mean, as far as like day to day, everything is like moving in that direction. There will be a
True.
point where you cannot live your life
Yeah,
without the internet.
and the reason being is because I feel like they're trying to get rid of like cash and stuff. Like
Oh yeah, yeah,
everything, like you said, the internet's coming. Like blockchain is about to take over, and everything's gonna be like electric.
yeah. I mean, you have some countries that like India. I believe they. I was watching something yesterday. I think it was as far as just
They
how,
banning cash.
something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know if they did that in the past or something like that.
Yeah, I saw a video about it too. Like how they made cash illegal.
It was
Like
something yeah,
overnight.
yeah, it was something like that.
It's
I don't
honestly
know.
crazy what's going on. Like what has gone around was what has like happened. Like what's like happening now. What's gonna happen like in the future. Like regarding all that stuff. I remember like 20 years ago, like everybody had like cash, and then
I
10
mean-
years ago you got a credit card, and then the credit card had no chip, and now they fast forward like here now.
Yeah, you have it on
like,
your you have it on your
everyone has a
watch.
card. Yeah, you have it on your
You don't
watch.
even need your phone. No
Imagine like
cards or
10 years
nothing.
going forward, like there will probably won't be no cash at all, and then 20 years forward, it could even be like everybody has that chip, or like you paying with your phone only, with the internet, like you talk about, like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah, yeah.
is gonna be able to have like that basic.
I think that the only next
necessity.
step would be like those little chips, and some people do it. They'll have like RFID chips, and
Yeah.
they'll insert it in their hands to like get into like a door or something like that. And that's a
Well-
whole nother conversation for other stuff. But
Well,
yeah,
I'll pop up the conversation just talking about like I'm a religious person, and like leading to that is like the mark of the beast. It's like it's in your forearm or your forehead. It's like a mark, basically accepting the evil one. And I think like I wouldn't say I'm like a true conspiracy theorist, but I am to an extent, and I feel like
yeah, it's good to question
the elite
things.
is pushing a certain agenda, and basically, yeah, like eventually, maybe 20, maybe even 50 years time, like everyone will have, they'll be forced to potentially make you have that chip. Like a movie that really made me just think about it is a movie called Time. Have you seen it?
Is that
It was
with
a clock.
the Justin Timberlake?
Yep.
Was it called Time?
Yep, it was called Time.
I remember.
I believe
the
it
movie.
was.
It's
It's honestly a
I
great
think it was like
movie.
late 2000s, like 08 or something like that.
Yeah.
07. Maybe it was late. Maybe it was later than that.
But
I
yeah, you're
remember that.
you're paying with your time.
paying-
Like
but
whenever you
that-
go to work and stuff like that. Like
I think that was like what's the word? Like a utopian, not really utopian, dystopian sort of society.
Mhm.
That's what that movie was.
yeah,
And it's kind of, I think like it was more so saying, not really even more so. They could have just really just been saying, okay, this is the future. This is like an aspect of what,
Yeah.
this is like
it's like
what could
it's
happen,
like
but
you know,
obviously not
it's
really.
like maybe programming type stuff.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it was more so showing people
What?
like that's what you do now, but you don't realize it. Like right now, when you purchase things, when you live a life of like wanting the newest things, you want to
Mhm.
have like the best things. You're not just paying with it with money. Like yeah, you're
paying it
obviously
with your
buying
time.
it with money, but what is that? Where did you get that money? You got it with your time. So
Mhm.
it's the same thing. Like you're buying things with your life, essentially, when you're just purchasing the newest iPhone. You know,
Yeah,
the
it's like
the
desire,
best
like envy,
designer
type
handbags.
Stuff,
You know what I mean?
wanting more.
Yeah, like
more
it's
and
yeah,
more.
it's
That's why I feel like potentially that mark of the beast is, it's
yeah. I mean,
it could be something.
yeah, I mean, I
Which
could
I-
see that point if someone is if someone who's religious, they could make that.
Connection.
Yeah, but I mean, me, I'm not religious, so for me, it's not something that like I think about. I do
Well,
think
it's not even that I think about it like constantly. It's
No,
like
no,
it's
no.
a thought that I've had.
no, yeah.
And like whenever I talk about the subject,
But
like,
I'm more so yeah. I
I'll
mean,
share it
I can see
because-
how the connection is made. Is what I'm saying. Like that
Mhm.
you or like someone who else is Christian, I can see how they make that connection. But for me, it's I don't. For me, even just not being religious or not being a Christian, I guess you could say. I think it's just weird in general. Like I don't think you even have to think it's the mark of the beast or like think anything religious of it. I think coming from like just a agnostic or atheist, whatever you want to say, perspective, I think stuff like that would be weird anyway. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, I don't know. It just seems odd to have to like inject, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Have something like that and ship that
I mean,
keeps
yeah,
track of all your stuff and everything. Because then it just the thing is, once you start doing something, like you allow certain things to happen, it's like the next step happens. It's like that with anything in life. If you're in a relationship with someone and you allow certain things to happen, right?
hmm
It just leads to like maybe going one step further, and then the next step, and the next step, and then you get to the point when you're like, "What the fuck's going on?"
yeah.
You know what I mean? That might be confusing, but
Yeah,
My
but
point is, like,
if
if
you
you-
come to that point though, then you still came to it. Sometimes it might be later than others, but you still came to that point
what do you mean?
of like stopping yourself or to an extent,
Oh
Like,
yeah,
change-
yeah, yeah. Like,
changing-
like
changing-
realizing what you're
Yeah.
doing. You're just, yeah. For
So,
some reason, go ahead.
you got it.
For some reason I lost my train of thought. Like for some reason in this podcast, I just feel like super lost. I think because I had topics I wanted to talk about, but I didn't get to look them up in time. So I'm kind of just thinking in my head about other stuff. But yeah, no, just in line with that, with what I was saying with the like I was giving the relationship as an example to make the connection with like the chip thing. It's kind of like, okay, we start doing the chips and okay, this is just like I think there were some workplaces and it may have been in Europe. I don't know if it was in the States or not, but it's like, yeah, we have this chip. It's your key to get in your office, right? I mean, if you've worked any place with the office key, you know, you need to go after hours. Like the office is closed after 8, but you have a card, you can scan it and you can work in the office late.
Yep.
Like what's difficult about having the card? You know what I mean? If you have like an employer who's like, okay, yeah, we don't have cards, but you need to be able to get in the office after this certain point. We do this, and it's the chip, and it's like, okay, whatever. It's only like doing this, and it's like, well,
one thing leads to another.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's like, okay, we'll allow that. Like, I'll let you do that. It's only a chip for, you know what I mean, RFID or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just keeps. It's like a snowball effect. You know what I mean? It's like that with anything. And I don't think that's really a conspiracy type thought. I think it's more so like logical. Like it's thinking this can happen. For me, like logic is kind of like being open-minded to certain things happening, not even thinking about it from a conspiracy point of view, but more so thinking about like,
well, like
this is a possibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
From what, like, you know what I mean? Just for anything.
Yeah, just
in
like
life.
the odds, it can be in any favor. That's what you're saying?
I don't. That made no sense to me. Your odds can be any favor.
Yeah, like anything can happen. Like there's.
Well, I'm not saying anything can happen, but I'm just saying like it's good to think certain things are possible or certain things might happen in the future. You know what I mean? So you can prepare yourself, or you can see that a certain action might lead you to that possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you stop that whatever action it is from the get go, it won't get to that point.
No, that's definitely how it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're just changing your attention. Like if something's bothering you, the way to like overcome those thoughts is basically just, you know, turn the other way and not really looking at it. You know, like what you're getting at is don't do something if you don't really want to do it type stuff. You know?
Yeah, just as far as just thinking how things, you know, might. Just like think about your actions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's in terms of
cause
really
and
anything in
effect,
life. Yeah.
Like
you said
effect.
earlier with the goals, right? So you had what the consequences of those were like, as far as like, not necessarily a bad consequence. They're probably like win state or whatever, or whatever the titles are, and the consequences.
Well, actually, they didn't even put consequences on there.
What do you mean? Y'all had it, but they didn't write
Yeah,
any?
coach put it up there, but he didn't. They didn't fill anything out for consequences.
So consequences. It
But
seems
the reason why they did it, their thought was because like the consequence, like for not reaching their goals.
Oh
is
yeah, okay, yeah. I was
basically-
gonna say consequences is more so negative, but
Yeah, and they didn't want to like be.
For some reason I'm
have
drawing
any negative thoughts or like anything energy towards it.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank as far as like consequences negative, right? Usually, probably all the time. I cannot think of the positive word.
Oh, the opposite of consequences.
No, like okay, so say the actions that you're taking are. I can't think of it right now. The action that you're taking to you know win state or whatever the case is, win national championship, whatever. The actions you're taking are, you know, working hard, exercising, eating, diet, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the actions you're taking, and then the positive outcome would be winning nationals. You know what I
like
mean?
a
Something like
reward.
that. Yeah, the reward. But there's another word I'm trying to think of for some reason. I'm just drawing a blank, but they didn't write that. Like the positive outlook on whatever they're
like talking about like incentives.
not really
to an extent.
incentives.
Like if this happens, you get this done.
My editor is telling me benefit advantage. I don't really. That doesn't sound like.
No,
the
I
right
think
word.
incentives is better. Like
No, incentive is I'm going to do this if you're able to do this.
okay.
I'm more so saying
like if this happens, then you get this.
if you do this, then you'll achieve this.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I cannot think right now. I don't know why. Like I said, my editor texted me saying benefit advantage. That is not the word in my head, but
Okay. Well,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I
maybe
cannot-
it'll come to you in a little bit.
probably not. I don't
but-
know.
Yeah, honestly, just being at in Cochrane like with the team, like a lot has happened, and the one thing that's happened is actually, I just made me like think about it is we missed 2 days. We had missed one game and we missed one training due to like lightning, like it was
Mhm.
raining.
Y'all don't practice like inside. Just completely scrap it.
Well, whenever we had our game, I can't say who it was against because it was like an exhibition.
Yeah.
But we waited for like 2.5 hours, and they're just lightning after lightning. And once lightning strikes, like a 10 mile radius,
Yeah.
like you have to be outside. All right,
Yeah.
It's like a 30-minute delay. So, and then for the game, no, we couldn't go inside. For training of the day, we couldn't train inside because we didn't reserve the indoor like basketball court. We use it
Yeah.
sometimes as an indoor field.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. The reason I brought it up is because like we were out there and I guess I never really thought about it, but obviously like trees, you know, they're tall. They get struck by lightning and everything. But I'm out there with the whole team, and I'm probably one of the tallest. There's maybe one or two girls that are like similar height,
Mhm.
but anyways, what I'm getting at, there was a storm was coming, and you saw lightning in the distance,
Mhm.
and it was 10 miles out. You know what I'm saying? Gotta say that. But my hair started sticking up. And one girl was freaking out. She was ducking.
You never heard of
like
that?
this. She was ducking. It was like, coach. She was like, I gotta make sure that I'm smaller than you.
No, that's the thing. Like if they,
Yeah.
I think they say.
I started doing this with my hair and everything.
No,
pushing it down.
I think like if
She
your
was
hair
like-
starts staticking and stuff like that, like you better like get out of there.
Yeah.
Because that means lightning is definitely gonna strike. Like, I don't know the science behind it, but yeah,
Well, yeah.
it's
It was
about
crazy.
lightning right there.
And we ended up running inside. Like after the lightning strike, like probably like within the 10 miles, and we knew we had to get inside because the phone and we didn't get service good enough.
Y'all don't have
And-
like is it like a
Well,
I remember in high school soccer they had like it wasn't like a phone. Again,
it was like a
you
little
know,
radar thing. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a ra- is
no,
it-
we don't have that.
there's
Everyone
nothing
nowadays
like
has apps, and I actually need to get the app from my phone because
no, yeah, so I figured it
I'm
would
a
probably
coach and I need to make sure I have everything.
yeah, I figured it would be more so app type stuff because that's where everything's headed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to tie in, wait, were you going more with that or no?
Well, I was gonna just also talk about like that lightning incident of the past week, and also talk about in Macon a few months ago. Probably about less than a year I think,
Mhm.
but there was a lightning strike, and an individual who went to a private school here in Macon passed away. He was a high schooler at
Oh, yeah, I
I think
read about
Stratford
that.
Academy. Rest
Yeah.
in peace. He ran cross country, and they made a little memorial thing for him. Like I guess I don't know if they finish or
That's
when
crazy,
they finish or
imagine.
start. But yeah, imagine getting struck by lightning.
We went to high school with someone I graduated with. She was in my graduating class. Her dad, I think, got struck by lightning like 3 times in his life,
Whoa.
and he didn't die. Like he had got struck by lightning.
I'm surprised I
believe
never
it was
got
at least
struck.
twice. It was at least twice.
I was surprised I never got struck. One time, me and a buddy, Justin,
Mm-hmm.
we ended up going to Tybee
Mhm.
one weekend, and basically we were out on the beach, and the sun was finna set, and the sun actually happened to set as the clouds were coming, and then it would just started pouring rain and lightning, and we just was like, let's just chill out here, and
It wasn't like
we were
heat,
already
it
wet
wasn't
from,
just
from
like,
being in the ocean, like or just being out there, you know.
Yeah.
And no, it was I don't know, it was not heat lightning. It was
Wasn't
like
heat
a
light-
thunderstorm.
Oh, so you
like
heard
it
thunder,
was
okay.
there was lightning strikes everywhere, and we were just
Yeah.
out there just chilling, like watching the waves and everything. It was crazy. Like that was an experience with lightning I'd never forget in my life.
Yeah, I don't have any close calls with lightning,
Yeah, I remember. I thought
fortunately.
yeah, no close calls. I don't think so. You never told me about anything.
I mean,
Remember that one time we were in the front yard though, and I think I got mom and dad, and I got everybody out there, you and Lily as well, to go like sit in the chairs and eat popcorn and watch the clouds that was in the distance.
Was that lightning or something else?
It was a maybe it was a heat lightning storm, but I'm pretty sure it was like a
It
storm
was
in the
something.
very
Yeah.
distance.
Actually, I do remember one time when we were children, there was a really bad storm in the house we lived in at the time, and it was so bad that like we had to, like get in the hallway type stuff. So we're in the hallway, we're sitting in there, and for whatever reason we had the bikes in the house. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. I think we lived in the area where like stuff would get stolen
yeah,
if you left it outside. So we had the bikes in the house, and the one of the bikes, it was just one bike at the time. It was propped up against
it
the
scared you.
no, it
Oh.
was propped up against the furnace, I believe, in the living room. And so here's the furnace, and here's a window, and the bike is propped up against the furnace. And the lightning, I don't know what it was. I don't know how it got.
But it struck the bike.
It went through the window in the living room and hit like the bike or something.
What the fudge? Did you want the bike
You don't
afterwards?
remember that?
No.
Yeah, we were younger. It was a long time ago. I don't. I think
Well, I can't lie. I don't
don't
have
think
the
the-
best
it-
memory of my younger age.
It wasn't like I mean, if you see things get struck by lightning, it's like a force of destruction. Like
Yeah.
it just, which wasn't the case in that time. But I remember it happened, so I don't know. Like, I guess it was diffused through going something else. Because
Yeah.
again, the window was probably 20 yards away from where it struck or whatever, and yeah, it just hit the bike. We're at the end of the hallway. You don't remember that?
No, I don't
It
remember
was just
that.
me, you, and mom just in the end of the hallway and the bike. You'd have to ask her about it. But yeah, it like
I'll
struck
ask her.
through
That's why
the window and like hit the bike.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
good thing it wasn't fake riding on the bike that day. But no, yeah.
But
it's
real
crazy.
quick, I actually saw another video. I saw a video today on I think it was on TikTok,
Mhm.
TikTok or Instagram, and there was this massive storm, and it was like a CCTV
Yeah.
angle or like clip.
So it was surveillance camera. Yeah.
Yep. And then like these 4 people were standing underneath a tree, and remember how like it's that tall like street.
Oh, I think I've seen it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
they all like laid down the ground, and like I don't know if they died or like
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
died.
what
Yeah,
happened.
they
Yeah, that's
died.
what I was that's why not hoping. That's what I thought it was, but I was hoping it wasn't the case.
No, yeah.
I
they
mean, I say
died.
hoping it wasn't the case, but
No,
I
yeah,
thought
they
that
dropped
because they
like
all
this.
just dropped, and I was like,
Yeah, I've seen some crazy
"No."
videos online, especially. I mean,
I think I'm trying to hope someone passes. Never
I know.
that.
Yeah, obviously not. But obviously in the U.S. there's supposed to be really strict standards. OSHA, they cover like with the work environment, like what you can or can't do, or what
Yep.
needs to happen to do certain things, whatever the case is. It's supposed to be like safety stuff. So it's pretty good in the U.S. At least it should be. You're supposed to be. But in other countries, I don't know what their standards are. But I've seen a lot of videos of people messing with electricity, and electricity in general is just super dangerous. And I saw one video, these guys were carrying this scaffolding. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like big
Yeah.
scaffolding.
Oh yeah, I have.
Like you work on buildings and they like build this stuff to stand and do
Yeah.
stuff. And they were all carrying it together. It was like probably like 8 guys. They're carrying it. And I believe it was in India. Again, I saw this video a long time ago. They're carrying it. And there's wires running above them. And they're holding this metal scaffolding. And they're going, for whatever reason, they're not paying attention. And they hit the power lines of the scaffolding and they all just dropped.
All dropped. Dang.
And I'm assuming they died. But yeah, that's just crazy. Like lightning. I'm not lightning.
Electricity?
Electricity in general is something you don't want to mess with.
For real.
Unless you know, unless you have
Electricity and like, well, obviously you can't really choose to mess with it to an extent, but like Mother Nature. Mother Nature is wild.
you can choose to mess with it. Like
But
someone,
that's why I
someone who
stopped
like
myself.
is surfing in like a storm or like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna catch these waves because, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
they know the storm's happening, so the waves are gonna be bigger.
Or what about someone who like snowboarding and all of a sudden the avalanche comes?
But yeah, but you're not really testing Mother Nature, right?
Yeah, but I was just saying like you couldn't really stop it. Like
I mean,
you're
yeah,
talking
you
about
can-
electricity, there's nothing to mess with. Like
yeah,
Mother Nature's nothing to mess with either. Like
yeah,
you
definitely
know,
not.
like the beach, like testing in.
Yeah,
trying
you
to-
get in the water. It's crazy because I don't remember the correct amount of water that can like push you or something. I don't know. Either way, you get in the ocean, the waves are strong. Like
yeah, oh, they're strong.
like people just they misjudge their swimming abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You could be Michael Phelps. If you could get caught in something wrong,
You're gone.
it's going to be done. So it's definitely like something you want to pay attention to. Yeah, but I'm trying to think. I kind of wanted to. I don't know. Have you seen the stuff about Disney? They are apparently they have like a Disney. I don't know what they call it. Whatever their streaming service program is, I believe it's
Disney
like,
Plus.
I believe I think that's what they're gonna call it. I'm not sure, but they have a streaming service that's like $8 or so, and now they're gonna they're bringing it up to 11 or so, and it's like the free version, and they're gonna have another version that's like ads and stuff like that.
Okay.
And a lot of people are complaining about that. Either way, I think the ad-free version is still cheaper than Netflix's standard version, but it's just
Disney show.
crazy, like Disney. You know what I mean? I actually also read something about Disney. I think they had like a 40% increase in profits this year or sometime. I don't know the time frame. It was something I just read recently, so it had been over the past year or something. And they also mentioned like increasing their ticket sales for the park. That makes more sense than the streaming side of stuff. You know what I mean? Because the streaming is kind of
I
like
don't know because streaming is like worldwide. Like everyone watches.
no, yeah, no,
Disney.
I'm saying, but as far as them, they announced a 40% increase in profit. What I'm getting at is like how much more do they need? You know what I'm saying? They're just take.
Yeah, being greedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What I'm getting at though, it makes sense for the park because it's kind of like the park can only be so big. You can only. We haven't been to Disney World since we were children, but I mean, I've read stuff online. I see things online.
I thought I actually went recently.
I don't think you did.
I did. I went with Kira's family.
Oh, well, we
I
didn't
think,
know
I
about
don't
that.
know. I think I did. I think it was Disney.
But
I saw
yeah,
I saw
so
Mickey Mouse.
for Disney, it kind of makes sense to increase the ticket prices because if you're willing to pay that extra, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
jump in the ticket price, then less people are, so the parks won't be as
That's
as
crowded.
packed. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
you're able to like just provide better experience for the people who come in
Oh yeah, definitely.
by
I
just
mean,
bringing it up a little bit. But at the same time, then you kind of like you're making Disney World not accessible to people who can't afford it if you're bringing it
yeah,
up a
but
little more.
that's what goes on to what you're saying earlier about people who need like medication, whatnot. Like
Yeah, but
it's
Disney,
just this
yeah,
the system we have here.
yeah, but I didn't want to make, yeah, I get what you, yeah. If I say yeah one more time,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, yeah, insulin is more. It's
Yeah,
obviously it's more serious than
yeah,
going to
definitely.
Disney World.
I don't know if you ask like a 5-year-old, they'll probably say Disney for
Oh
sure.
yeah, if they're 5, they're definitely gonna pick
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah.
Unless they're 5 and they use insulin and they are, you know, what I mean, they
True.
understand.
True that.
Which if yeah,
Well, speaking of money, do you hear about? I know you heard about it. That guy who won the lottery when it was over $1 billion.
we talked about that 2
Who
podcasts
did?
ago. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Are you gonna say the next thing? The government took 800 million from him in taxes or
No, I
something
was
like
always
that.
gonna say, man, imagine if you won $400 million.
That's
But I think we actually
that's the weirdest thing. I was speaking to someone a few weeks ago about like,
imagining stuff like that.
yeah,
Go out and do it.
no. It was more so thinking about negative thoughts in life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And kind of, I'll say more serious, but yeah, it's like you sit around. Some people like if you suffer from anxiety, you know what I'm talking about. Or you're someone who's just an anxious person. You'll understand what I'm saying. You oftentimes think about certain negative outcomes or things that can happen. You know what I mean? And you sit and you let it get to you. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you let it just tear you
Just
down.
overthinking.
Yeah, you overthink something that may not happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is nowhere near like a
Like,
possibility.
yeah, it's like, okay, if that happens, then you deal with it then. Like I used to do that, which is why I gave this analogy to this person I was talking to. But yeah, I use the lottery thing as an example. It's kind of like sitting around thinking, oh, what am I gonna do if I win the lottery? You know what I mean? The odds of that happening are just
slim.
astronomical. Like
Slimmer
so
than
it's-
when getting struck
it's-
by lightning.
Yeah, which is it's just crazy to think like, oh, what am I going to do if I win the lottery? I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's like
Yeah.
you probably will never win the lottery, so it's just pointless to do that. But I was making that comparison for this person in terms of like being anxious in life for certain things or like being worried that something's going to happen. You know what I mean? When you don't know it's definitely going to happen, or if it's not a for sure outcome. You know, it's kind of like.
Like what if?
Yeah, I like to. So again, I used to really do that a lot. I used to really get anxious about certain things happening, or I used to let things get to me like that. You know what I mean? And think, oh man, this is gonna happen. So I got to the point where I don't know how I came to this
Which
thought process.
Rewire your brain.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of rewired it, but not at the same time. So what I do now, and I don't have to do it now because I don't really get too worried about certain like much things anymore. But I'll be like, okay, what's the absolute worst outcome if this happens? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think of, oh, if this is it, whatever occurs, I'm like, what's the worst possible outcome? I'm like, if I can deal with that worst outcome, I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like if that worst outcome happens, whatever. You know what I mean? Then you kind of alleviate some of the issue. If you're able to jump over the hurdle of not actually getting anxious about it. You know what I mean? It's easier said than done to just think about that and then throw it out the way and like be over it. You know what I mean?
True.
But it might help. Like if you're someone who struggles with stuff like that, struggles with thinking about negative outcomes, or they just have negative outlook on life, it helps to think like, can I deal with the worst
Outcome.
in this
Yeah.
situation? And you're like, yeah, I can. Then you're fine. But add to another layer.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Adding to that though, another way I like to do it is, okay, if I do this, what can happen? And it's like a hierarchy. This is the closest thing that can happen. And then, okay, if it happens, what happens to me? You know what I mean? I can't really think of any examples off the top of my head. Let me think of like something simple. we'll use snowboarding, whatever. So let's say you're snowboarding, right? And you're like, oh man, I've never snowboarded. I might die. You know what I mean? This is a really extreme example, but you kind of might understand what I'm saying with this. It's kind of like, okay, I'm scared to snowboard for whatever reason. I'm just scared of it. I don't know why. You kind of like go through the layers. So what's the closest thing as far as negative that can happen to you snowboarding?
What, like going down a hill?
No, just snowboarding in general. The
Okay.
worst thing can happen is you get cold. Can I deal with being cold? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Can I deal with that? Yes, you can. So then it's not that big a deal. What's the next thing? All right, so we had some technical difficulties. So if you're watching YouTube, there is a cut in the clip. If you're just listening to the audio, it might just sound really weird at this point. So yeah, there was a cut for a second. Back to what I was saying though. So again, if you're worried about something, like the snowboard, that was the example I was giving. What's the
First one's getting cold.
What's the first one getting cold? Can I
Yeah.
deal with getting cold? Yeah, it's fine. What's the next worst thing? You know what I mean? Breaking a bone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If I break a bone, what can happen? You get a cast or whatever the case is, right? Can I deal with that? Yeah, it might hurt, but it'll be fine.
Mhm.
And then the worst, obviously, is I die. You know what I mean? That again,
Yeah,
this
you
was
go
the
all
extreme
those-
example.
Mhm.
So it's like I die, and it's like,
Could you live with that?
am I okay with dying? You know what I mean? Again, this is a really extreme example. You know what I mean? And it's more so I apply it to like everyday life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To
No, I know what you
something
mean.
something more like as far as like working a job. The worst case, something happens, you get fired. Can I deal with getting fired? Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if
It
it's
is what it is.
if it's more of like a work life balance and you have to like do something or say something,
Mhm.
that's more so it would make more sense. Can I die? Do I not want to do this now because I'm going to die? It doesn't really work in that case because it's kind of like too extreme. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's more applicable to other stuff. Just apply it in your life and see if it makes sense.
Yeah, like
Or
everyday
apply it to
basic,
certain
basic
situations and it
choices
might
you
work.
have.
Yeah, it might just help you. You know, if you are, like I said, if you're someone who's anxious or you suffer from anxiety or you have a negative outlook or whatever the case is,
That's
just
just
try
a
to
way to do
do
it.
that. Just to think. Like again, I was someone who did that a lot. I don't have that issue as much anymore.
Yeah, it's a
But
good
yeah.
technique. Yeah.
I don't know how I thought about it, but I just started doing it one day. I was like, yeah, and it helps a lot.
Well, speaking of dying, I was actually talking to our neighbor, Mr. Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
Our neighbor, Mr. Freddie, lived diagonal of us. He lives there by himself. And I was taking Rose out for a walk, and I saw him. I was walking towards Houston Road. If you know Houston Road, if you know, you know.
This man just given all of our like. You can probably figure out where we live at with all of that
No,
stuff.
you can. Anyways,
Too specific, but yeah, go ahead.
I was like, hey, what's up, Mr. Freddie? How you doing? I had a quick little chit chat with him.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, wasn't that quick, probably like 15, 20. I guess that's kind of quick. Depends on how you look at time. But probably 20 minutes. And we were there just chit chatting and everything. And we were talking about dogs because I wanted to bring Rose on the walk. And
Have they ever had dogs over there? I've never seen any.
that's what I'm getting at. So he kept coming, and Rose like, "Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful." I was like, "Thank you, like Rose, tell him thank you." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about dogs. I was like, "Have you ever had a dog?" Because I wanted to bring Rose up to him so he could try to pet her. Like, you know, I just want to get it better with people.
Yeah.
So I brought Rose up to him, and she smelled him. He didn't pet her, but we're like, "Have you ever had a dog?" And it turns out he actually has 6 dogs buried in his backyard. 4 labs.
Talk.
Because we were talking about death.
You know,
So,
I know. Yeah, I was gonna say something goofy, but yeah.
Say it.
I forgot if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember. Speaking about death, this guy has 6 dogs buried in his backyard.
Yep. 4 labs. The other 2, I have no
I
idea
don't think
what they are.
the whole time we've lived here, I don't think I've ever
Seen a dog
heard a
over
dog
there.
or seen a
But
dog.
that was a long time ago.
He said that the
Yeah.
last dog he had was
You
a
know
long,
what?
long time ago.
Yeah. And you know what's even crazier?
Hmm.
So I try to tell this guy every once in a while, whenever I can. Like, actually sit, like, well, not sit down, but stand across the street or even go to his
I've
yard. and
never
talk-
spoken to him in
and
my
talk to him.
life.
I try to do it often because his wife passed away several years ago. He lives there by himself. And I asked him the other day, when I was talking to him, I was like, "How old are you?" And guess how old he was? If you probably get
Same
this
age
right.
he is right now, probably. Which is, I mean, I don't know. The guy's probably
what's-
70s.
Yeah.
He's
Go on.
74,
Go up 3.
77.
77.
77?
Yeah,
That's
he's
not that old.
77. Whenever, yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
I mean, it is what it
Close
is.
to 80. It is what it is. And you're
We
right.
talked about this, I think, on one of the other podcasts as far as being old. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that old.
But
I
either
don't
way,
think it's really
either
old
way,
at
he
all.
said that, and I was like, "That's what," because I love sevens, like 777, 777. Like I was like, "That's what's up." Like turn up, like 77. Maybe smile a little
Was
bit.
he born in July?
I have no idea when he was born.
Oh,
Wow.
is it 777?
Yep, that'd be wild.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just a quick. It was a quick little chit chat, and I like talking to older people just because they love to talk. And
Yeah,
it was,
talking
it
to old
was-
people in general is good because you can
you learn a
the
lot.
perspective they give you on,
Yeah.
on anything really is like valuable. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because they've already lived it. Like it's like you start playing a new video game and you're getting tips and tricks and all this stuff
True.
from like a veteran who's been playing for forever. You know what I mean? It's like it's free information. Why would you not just take a second to listen and
And that's
see
the
their
thing.
perspective on life?
And that's the thing. When I was talking the other day, like I kept like talking myself. 'Cause I haven't talked to him for a while, so I was just trying to just tell him things. And I was just like, a thought like hit them on my like, stop talking, let him speak. Like,
Yeah.
because older people tend to like they're a little bit slower with the speech, and they
Yeah.
they tend to like tell you a story as
Yeah.
what they're telling you. And I was like, I took a step back and I just sat there for like 5 minutes with my leash in my hand, with my other hand behind my back, just let him talk like 5 minutes straight
He
about.
told a good story or what?
Yeah, he did, but every once in a while he has like this thought about life that he holds on to, because he's by himself. Like his wife passed away,
Yeah.
So whenever we do talk, a lot of the conversation has hints of this one particular story, which is his story growing up on the street. He said he's been here for I think 34 years.
Growing up on the street, or do you mean
Or
just
living.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
he's only lived
growing on
here-
the street. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's been there for 34 years or
How about the guy down the road? The other guy you used to talk to. You talk to him ever still?
Oh, yeah, Mr.
He's even
Kitchens.
older.
yeah, he's like 90 something. I think he's like 91.
He's on the golf cart, right? He rides the
He's on
golf
the golf
cart.
cart,
Does
yeah.
anyone he live by himself too or no?
His wife.
Oh, she
I
lives with
think
him?
yeah, a woman he lives with. It
Yeah.
might be his wife, but yeah, he's 90 something, and I talk to him every once in a while whenever I can too, because honestly I do things that I feel like I want be done to me when I'm older. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like
If
I
you're-
want people to talk to me and help me out. So whenever I see an old person, I try to do what I can just
Yeah.
because even like for younger kids. The other day I was in the dollar store. What?
I was just thinking of something funny.
What were you thinking?
For some reason, it I don't know why. It's not even no.
You're not gonna say it.
I mean, it's not. It's just okay. Basically, if imagine like you're helping an older person out, right? We live in the South. Whatever. Take that take that however you want.
With a grain of salt.
No,
just
that's
kidding,
not what I
no.
wanted to say. No, just
Just
whatever.
Take it how
Take it how you want.
Yeah.
So we live in the South. I'm just thinking like helping, like you're helping an old like white person or something, and they're like, we're Hispanic or we're half Mexican, whatever.
Mexican American.
We're Mexican.
European.
Dad's Mexican. So yeah, we're half Mexican. Anyhow, I'm just thinking like I'm going to help out some really old person who's like, really like they're obviously like 90 or something, and they're just saying, "Get out of here, you damn Mexican," or something like that to me, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
For some reason, as you were talking, that whole scenario,
That's
just,
what's going on in your head.
I just like
That's
imagine
funny.
doing that, and then someone telling me that, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Has it ever happened to you before?
Trying to help someone and then them saying something like that.
Yeah.
That specifically no.
Okay, that's
But
funny.
I had
It would have been funnier if you did say like,
I had a situation.
yeah, one time that happened.
I'm gonna strangle this guy. I was dropping something off at the USPS right at one of the boxes, the little big blue ones, whatever.
Yep.
It was a Pokemon card. I was recording it. I wasn't recording it. My passenger was, girlfriend at the time, now wife.
Girlfriend.
Anyhow,
TMI.
she was recording it, and again, it was it was like a $1,500 card, and then the guy pulled up behind me, and he like started cussing me out.
Oh, I remember this. I was with you.
He was not with me.
Yes, I was.
She was recording, and I showed you the video. You were not with me.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah, he this is the most recent just like time, and he just said, I can't remember exactly, but
Something
he just
about
said,
Mexican?
he said, "You damn Mexican." He said, "You go back to your country," or something like that.
Felt so offended.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I wasn't really offended. I mean, I guess it kind of like
You felt like
It-
some type of way. I
felt
remember the story now.
I felt some
You
type of way
some
just
kind
because
of
I was
way.
annoyed. I just was
Yeah.
annoyed. I'm like, because what I was doing, it wasn't. I mean, not saying anything I could have been doing would have made him saying that say that, or like the way he was acting, it was like a whole thing. Make it okay, but like that was super chill as far as what I was doing. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting in front of this box for a second. You know what I mean? To record it, to put it in there. He wants to, you know what I mean?
Say those words.
He came to the window and basically tried to rip my head off and shit down my throat. Essentially, like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. The other situation has never occurred. I've never tried to help someone and they say that no, but that's the most recent thing I've.
Well, just because
had to
the
deal with
story,
like
I
that.
remember you telling about this story. Like, I remember you're a little upset, but I find it kind of funny. But I think it'd be funny if someone that you go try to help somebody and they say, "Get out of you, damn Mexican." Just so we can talk about this later in life. Like,
I mean, like.
but yeah, what I was
okay.
also saying just now, it would be funny. I mean, I don't mind someone dead.
I have seen videos of stuff like that happen though. Like,
Yeah.
in nursing homes, I've seen. I think the video I saw was it was a black lady that was working with this person. It was an old white person, obviously, and they were trying to. Again, this is more so. I think they had like dementia and stuff, so like they kind of, again, not excusing anything, but they were like going off the rails at this person's worker.
Yeah.
It was like cleaning them up type stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. I don't know. If something happened like that, I just went, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I honestly, I would just laugh. I'll probably just laugh so hard.
Yeah, because it would just be so ridiculous. You'd be like,
It's like you really expressing yourself like that in public or like to somebody else. Like, I would, honestly, sometimes when people react in a certain way, I can't help but laugh.
oh yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
Like it just throws them off, or it just makes you even more mad. And I just
because they don't know how to they don't know how to react after the fact. Like your reaction isn't what they want. You know what I mean? Like they do things to get a reaction out of you, so they can like
for sure.
it like gets them off type stuff. You
Women
know
do
what I
that
mean?
a lot. Women do that, and honestly, I first myself like
You're more so saying from like in a relationship perspective from what you've dealt with. You're saying okay,
yeah, definitely,
yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
I mean, yeah,
just,
definitely, yeah. Anyhow,
yeah. But Mr. Freddy's a good guy. I hope he has a. I told him I hope you have a good evening. Hope you have a good week. And shout out to all the older people out there. Hope you're having a good night. I doubt many older people are watching this video, but
yeah.
you know, on this full moon evening, hope everyone
Super moon.
Yeah, look at that super moon.
I remember.
Hope everyone around the world has a great night. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of just want to. We're gonna go ahead and end it off in a second. I kind of want to just summarize, just a brief topic, and that was just the I want to talk about the insulin stuff and like stuff like that later in the future. I feel like that deserves its own video too, and just talking more in depth about just different stuff like that. Like for another thing on the top of my head is like ISPs, internet service providers.
Mhm.
Again, this is not as serious as the insulin, but it is another thing that as far as deserves like a video, deserves to be talked about.
I agree.
Like ISPs and just everything. If you look into ISPs in the US and all that stuff that goes with it, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, what I wanted to summarize is just dealing with things. So yeah, if you have like something that you're dealing with, or you're someone who's anxious, or someone who suffers from anxiety or anything like that, and you just think about negative stuff, or you're just scared of certain situations or outcomes, just again do that little exercise as far as thinking through what all the negative outcomes are. Right. I forgot to mention as well with that. Think of the negative outcomes, right? Think, can I deal with those negative outcomes? Right? Can I live with it? Will it affect me like in a way that I'm not able to handle? And also think about the likelihood. You know what I mean? Like not very likely, super not likely once you get to the end. It's like the worst outcome is the least likely and the least probable. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's just take all that into consideration. That might be kind of confusing, but it might help you out.
I hear that. And I'll add something too, just on top of that, I believe the mind is, like a garden. You can either plant flowers, you can plant weeds. So like here's a technique that Gustavo gave you, and I guess my take on it is just be conscious of the thoughts and the actions that you take, because everything has a ripple effect, basically.
Definitely. yeah, so that's episode 6 of the podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in.
Heck yeah.
It seemed a little less organized than the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when I watch it back over, it might seem.
I think it was. I think it was. we
I
had a
just
good
have to work
conversation.
on articulating my thoughts. My head, when I'm thinking of things, it's just like this. Like I'm thinking of one thing, I'm thinking of another thing, and I'm like tying them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta like, for some reason, I was really off of it today. I wasn't too clear in my thinking and how I wanted to express myself. But I kind of do that all the time. But I think it was just more apparent to me this episode.
I feel you.
Again, maybe watching it back, I might not think that as much. But yeah, again, we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And yeah, again, subscribe to us, like the video, do whatever you think is appropriate to support us. And we
Stop playing with us. Like, comment, share, retweet.
appreciate it. Peace out.
Peace.